mentioned Colin into our extended family. I always wanted a plumber. I said to Claire, can you marry a plumber? I said, we've got an electrician with Craig. I said, we've got a mechanic with Martin. But Colin said, well, I'm a teacher. But you can have me dad, he's a good plumber. So we've got Ken. Right, about Claire, where did I start now? I'm so proud of her, she doesn't realise. I remember the day she was born. It was a Tuesday, actually, it was an overtime day. I had to turn down overtime to go visit her in hospital. But she was always a happy, smiling, jolly girl. She used to get up with me on the morning. And being generally happy and jolly, she used to get on my nerves because I was a bit grumpy on her. But some say I'm grumpy 24/7, but I don't believe that. So I used to sneak downstairs on my knees and crawl down there so she wouldn't hear me getting up. And about 2 minutes later, who's creeping behind me, Claire? And, Dad, do you want breakfast? No, Claire. Dad, do you want no, Claire? And she'd start singing. Claire. So next morning I crept down and there she is behind me again. I said, Claire, how did you know it was me? I could hear your knees clicking when you came down. But when Claire was about 4 or 5 years old, she was always kind of a snotty nose kid. You wouldn't believe it now. And she always had sore throats and adenoid problems. So the doctor advises to have this operation and get her in as soon as you can. So we went private. It cost me about £100, which wages at the time, but it was well worth it. But when Claire had this operation, it was like a new child. You talk about Charlotte Church, the voice of an angel. When we got Claire back from this operation, she started singing, and she's never stopped ever since. One year, we were at Butlins on holiday. Yeah, because I was a spendthrift. And she asked us if she could enter a talent competition. So I said, yeah, go ahead, go for it. And the song she sang, quite prophetic really. Maybe it's because I'm in London. And she won it hands down, she stormed it. And it's strange now she's met and married Colin, and they've moved and got a house in London. So it's kind of a full circle. But I don't know where she got the voice from, as I said before. It doesn't come from me. Yeah. As she got older and did well at school, everybody loved her, as she probably realised, her happy personality. And then she went on to uni, and after that she went travelling all over the world. One week we get phone calls, oh, I'm driving around Australia next week, climbing on Sydney Harbour Bridge. I've just seen the sign, made in Middlesbrough. Next week, she's flown to New Zealand, jumping out of aeroplanes. I don't know, 2 pairs of socks, I get dizzy, I don't know where Claire gets it. Then eventually she moved down to London, got a better job, did well for herself. And she came home one week, told her mum, I met a guy down there, Colin. He's a great guy, he's from Dublin. I said, well, that doesn't make him a bad person. I said, where did you meet him, Claire? She said, oh, well, that's another story. I said, come on, you can tell me. I'm the father. She said, well, I met him in a gay bar. I said, what were you doing in a gay bar, Claire? She said, well, I said, and what was Colin doing in a gay bar? I hope there's something you're not telling me all today. Anyway, that's all history, which brings us here today. I think think I've said enough about Claire, and you can appreciate how I feel about it. So I'd like you all to raise a glass to Claire and Colin. Right, thank you for those few words. And I'll put the microphone to Ken. Okay, thanks very much.
Thank you very much, Paul. Next up, I'd like to introduce my own father, Ken, who is furiously writing this speech at about 11 o'clock this morning.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Col and Claire's wedding feast. The truth is, I've had this speech in my head for a long time now, the last couple of weeks. But it was only this morning that I actually got to put pen to paper and write out a few words. When Marion and I met Claire first, we really thought very highly of her. We thought she was a lovely girl, she was charming, and she mixed into the family very, very quickly. Having spent 2 hours in Claire's company, it was like talking to an old friend. And Claire is a very charming girl. She's very honest. She's pretty. And we love her to bits. It was only later that when we got to know Claire a little bit more that we realised that she had other qualities as well. She's a fantastic organiser. She's a great manager. And I think an hour ago, or 2 hours ago, Colin said to us before we came in, when we were talking in relation to organising the wedding feast, Colin said, I just stayed well out of the way. And I think Claire has done a great job in organising everything. And when we were in London yesterday, everything went a treat. The travel plans, the meal, the whole organisation was all down to Claire, and she did an absolutely wonderful job on it. I scribbled this down this morning, and it's in very small writing, so you have to and as usual, I can't read my own writing. But in relation to Claire, as the day goes on, you'll get to meet Claire, and you'll get to know exactly what I've been talking about. She's a lovely, warm girl, and we're absolutely delighted to have her in our family. You'll also see that when you've met Barbara and Paul in the course of the day, that you know that she has 2 wonderful parents, and she's clearly come from a family where she's been cherished and loved by Paul and Margaret, and her 2 sisters, Sally and Paula. And it's lovely to see that these family values have been passed on to the grandchildren, Alex, Jack, Sophie and Amy, and not forgetting Joseph and Emma. So it is my great pleasure to officially welcome Claire into the Adams family. And I just want to give her a kiss on the cheek for that. When Paul's making the speech that he had a lot of jokes thrown in and that, and I'm not as funny as Paul is, so if there are any jokes, they were unintentional from my part. I just just like to say a few words about Colin, our eldest son and our prized possession. It's funny when, as anyone here that are parents, when your children go out into the world, and it's funny, my own father used to say to me, when you go out into the world, you know all about this. And I used to say, what's he talking about? This world that we're going into. But you do realise that when you send your children out into the world, and they're going to meet people and partners and they're going to bring them back home. And really it's a bit of a lottery. And we struck gold because Colin brought home Claire, who happens to be, as I said, a wonderful person. But Colin was born on the 4th of November. He was due on the 4th of November. He never kept us waiting a minute. He went through school, we hardly knew he went to school. He started from primary school, secondary school, on to university where he did his degree and his master's, and then finally over to Galway where he did his HDiv, his teaching qualification. And I would have to say that the time, the years just flew. Colin never get him out of trouble. He was just perfect. And I know it was a sad day for Marion and I when we left him to the airport with his big red suitcase. And which, by the way, I paid the overcharge of the baggage. He's still owing for that. It was a sad day. We sent Colin off with his big red suitcase, as I say, and he flew to London and hauled red, as he became known later, halfway across London to the school in Reading, where he took up his first job. And on that very same day, he had an interview. He found himself digs, and he arrived at school the next day, and which was no mean feat for, you know, a young man really that had a huge amount of travel. He had enough, but had, you know, still, we were very proud that he was able to do that. Big Red and Colin became inseparable over the last few years, and everywhere Colin went, Red went. When Colin went on holidays, Red went with him. When Colin came home, Red came with him. And in fact, when Claire met Colin in that famous nightclub, I believe Red was there too. And Claire went up to Colin and Red and said, "Who's your friend?" And Red said, "Actually his name is Colin." Why bother him? He's an Irish fellow. So, I have to read my small writing again. You have to just bear with me for a second. Can we turn the lights on there? I'm getting to the end now. We are, both Marion and I are extremely proud of Colin. We're proud of the achievements that he's done and he's made in his short career as a teacher. We know he's an outstanding teacher, and his colleagues here today will vouch for that, won't you? And I know I can say with confidence that Colin will make Claire a wonderful husband. In fact, I'm sure he'll make an outstanding husband. And I know that Claire will make Colin an outstanding wife. And that's all I have to say. Enjoy the rest of your day, and I'll be meeting later.
So,
I have two very second prize.
Yeah, consolation prize. So, without much further ado, I'll pass it on to the perfect one.
Finally, amplification and an audience.
a bit of him in this compliment. My role here is really to thank lots of people, and there are lots of people to thank. And if I leave you out, sorry. First I want to thank all of you for coming. It's brilliant to have so many people here, such a great mix of people, see friends. I never thought we'd ever meet another friend, and I think that's wonderful. I also particularly want to thank people who've travelled any distance to be here, gotten on planes, gotten on trains, gotten on boats and all that. We're very grateful for that. We know what it's like, because we did it yesterday. And also, some of you have actually attended. This is the second time you've watched us get married, so thank you for that. You're either wonderful, generous people, or gluttons for punishment, whichever it is, you to decide. I would like to take some time to thank the staff here at the hotel. They've looked after us brilliantly well for this whole process, and they're going to continue to do that, so that's been brilliant. I'd like to thank Susie, who had a brilliant ceremony. It's really good, wasn't it? And she was also helpful throughout the whole process of coming up with vows and all the rest of it. That was great. The cake is around somewhere. Maybe it melted by the fire. It's upstairs. That came from Natasha, and Hillary gave us that. Somewhere else she's now. Yeah, she passes on to her, so thanks to her, but she's not here. Simon is taking the photos. There he is. Hey. I'm supposed to be the highest person here. I'm happy with this. Anyway.
I'll see you all in the dance floor.
Yes, so beware of that, by the way. I've been victim to that one before. Alright, just be careful. He's on Facebook, so I'm just saying. Of course, then, none of this would also be possible without certain friends who are here. Obviously, the backbone of any existence are your friends. First on the list, we did say how Craig battled through blizzards, which was amazing, but he did have a police escort on the way home. Yeah, well done. Stephen Rooney. You're supposed to. Well done. I said 10:30. I know, it's not possible. Sorry, buddy. I want to also make special mention to Tom and Eve up here, two fabulously talented musicians I want to thank Nathan for doing the reading. I was told by Chris that he was practicing that on the way to the hotel. He was reading that out loud. I think Chris's words were, I couldn't walk beside him because he was reading Shakespeare out loud. Shame on you, Chris. Any man who reads Shakespeare out loud is a man you need to walk beside. Anyway, thank you for that. Charlotte and Helen, thank you for the readings as well. They were lovely. Oh, and sorry, there are presents for some of you. Not all of you. Oh no, there is presents for all of you. Yeah, especially, no, everyone in the audience gets presents. But some presents are bigger than others. It's just the way life goes. There's a lot of presents in there. Yes. Sorry, Claire. Are you okay?
Yeah.
Sorry, slow down?
Yeah.
Okay. Charlotte, thank you for the readings. You held yourself together wonderfully. Your comportment was fantastic, and we were very impressed. You did E. Cummings and W.B. Gates very proud. Thank you for that. I'd also like to thank our other flower girls, Sophie and Emma. Where are they? Oh, there we are. Hello. Oh, she's very shy. Where's Emma? There's Emma there. They did very well today. And Alex and Jack as well. Kept an eye on the cake for me. I was convinced it was going to melt in the fire, but it didn't. I kept an eye on it and I knew it wasn't going to happen. So well done, lads. I'd also like to thank John, who's furiously filming in the corner over there. He's got 2 cameras on the go.
One's an iPhone.
It's going to be a new shoot. Next 5 minutes probably. Hopefully. No, that is for my great aunt. You can't be here, but we're going to say hello again. That's that. Yeah, Aunt Lally, say hello to her. I also, a special thank you to Sally and Paula, our 2 bridesmaids, who are there now. Oh, they're lovely, everybody. They look fabulous. I also, I do want to offer tentative thank you to my brother. true wedding fashion, I'm going to give you the positive thanks. And when I receive the rest of the speech, then I will give you the remaining thank you after. I'm not quite sure what I'm going to say. And I'm worried. So you can have the deposit when you get the rest out. And then I suppose, most importantly then, I do come to the parents on both sides. The Arvins, Paul and Margaret, and all the Arvins and Wattses and Boneses have been fabulous. I felt welcomed into the family from the very beginning, and never felt like a stranger or an outsider, and that was wonderful. That was really great. So thank you for that. And we've got kids going on in the background, and then of course my own parents as well, who have been equally fabulous throughout this whole process of running around and doing us favours and all sorts of stuff, including the super top secret operation. I forgot the present at the last minute, which we won't say any more about. Thanks for that, man. Good job. Yeah. And in case you're wondering, there's a, what was it? Yeah, there's a new and silver shop in No Grove Shopping Centre in case you're stuff. Very useful. Very hard. We would have had careers in London and also. It worked out at the end, so thank you for that. So yes, thank you for all the parents involved. Without them, that's why we have the platforms for them. It's just to show how good father they are. And then finally, absolutely finally, I would like to offer thanks to my wife. That's the first time I'm going to say that. I like that one. It's got a nice ring to it. So, obviously without her, thank you for saying yes. It's a good start. Instead of insisting on the reference, I promise you, thank you for saying yes. And I suppose just thank you for making me happy, really, because before I met you, I didn't really realise how happy one could be, and now I do. So, And that's it, really. So, thank you again. Enjoy your evening. Have some drinks, not too many, and I'll see you all there. Thank you very much.
And now we reach my segments of the afternoon. Colin was right to be a bit worried about my speech. This is actually my first wedding, not even my first job as best man. So think of this as a kind of disclaimer of sorts. Like, it's my first day, and I don't. Yeah, so I know that I have to toast the bridesmaids and Claire, and you all look wonderful. I took a little rating you. No, that's what's fun, no? No, and obviously toast Claire, who's my sister-in-law now. Which sounds, I've got a sister-in-law now. Claire, welcome to the family. I'd like to echo my father's sentence. Your Irish accent is terrible. You have the rest of your life to work on it, so you'll do a yearly kind of thing. I have to honour Colin, who's my brother. He's not my twin brother, by the way. It should be pointed out, and I'd like to remind you all that I'm 5 years younger than him. Every time you come up to me and say, you look like twins, you're essentially telling me that I look 30. And don't give me the other way, he looks younger, because that man hasn't looked 25 in 10 years. I'd also like to thank my fellow groomsmen, Alex and Jack. Where are they? There's Jack. They stood by my side. They managed to get over the hilarity of my first name. So fair play, lads. And then lastly, I'd just like to kind of thank our families, this is kind of what it's all about. And I'd like to tell you a little story. This is one of my very earliest memories. Crack out the hanky, Sonny, and go on TV. When we were kids, there was an occasion that I kind of remember. It's my first memory. My only other very early memory is Colin actually teaching me how to write my name with my feet. Is that a dream is that happened? I think it did. I can still do it, so. But anyway, we used to get, when we were kids, one of the occasion I remember was we used to get Munster Express from, and it's, my mother, for those who don't know, is from Waterford. And her parents were from Waterford. Yeah, represent! And her parents used to send up the Munster Express, which was the newspaper from then there. And they used to wrap it up and there'd be like kind of sweets on the inside. And we used to kind of marvel at the fact that they get those really thin dairy milk bars down without breaking them. And, you know, we used to kind of all crowd onto the bed and it was a big occasion. And it was, you know, I used to also put stinger bars in there as well. And because it's a great idea getting kids high on sugar. And I just kind of think that is a great example of a family who is not with this new branch of the family and kind of connecting. And I think it's a great synergy. Yeah, it's for all you teachers out there. And I really hope that we can kind of maintain a connection, and both the Arbons and the Adamses can maintain a connection with you guys. Now that you've started your own little branch in the family tree, you know. So I've started, this is the first of many, hopefully. This is a little package in London. And it's not the Munster Express, because you can't get that anymore, but it's an newspaper. And that's it, so I just like to kind of thank everyone, thank all the families, and let's get together and be one big family together. I'd like to ask you all to join me in reinforcing an Irish stereotype.
Yeah.